Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Gradeup's MBA Prep channel. Today we have with us Harrshit Kansal. He's a graduate from IIFT Delhi, and apart from cracking IIFT, he has also done exceedingly well in multiple examinations, including CAT, NMAT, etc. So, welcome Harshit to the show.
Thank you so much, Pranav and Gradeup team for having me over.
Yeah, so Harshit, please introduce about yourself, your background prior to your MBA.
Sure. So just a bit about myself. I was born and brought up in Delhi. Completed my schooling from two different Delhi public schools. Went on to pursue engineering degree from BITS Pilani. Did a few internships there, like one in finance from IIM Lucknow, and another a semester long internship at PwC. After that, I moved to like my aim was to go for an MBA. So if right after MBA I could get into a finance job, like that was my motivation basically. So I prepared for CAT and all other preschool examinations, and converted a few target schools, and then finally selected IIFT Delhi to pursue my MBA. So yeah, that's about my journey.
Okay, so you didn't have prior work experience before MBA.
I
Or,
didn't, yeah. Was
okay,
fortunate enough to get into IIFT straight after completing engineering.
okay, so when you completed, so did you write during your final year or the next year?
Yeah, I did write during my final year.
Okay, so in
That
the
was
final year itself, you
2017.
cracked your examination. So how did you manage your preparation along with your final year studies?
I think the right thing was about prioritization. So as I mentioned that I was pursuing my internship at PwC, right? So in the final year, apart from that, we do have a few courses. So BITS follows a structure in which for one semester you go for an internship called as practice school, and in the other it's more about placements and the final year courses. So I prepared along with my internship, and that was in the first semester of the final year. So I think it was mostly the weekends for me when I used to get time to uh, study for CAT, or give mock exams and analyze them. So that's what I did. I think sticking to a general schedule helped me, and that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so you started post your third year, and like during that year, you utilized the time whichever you got during your internship and to prepare for it. Okay, so,
Correct. Yeah.
so yes, you appeared for different examinations. So can you tell me that like there are some students who think that it's not possible to, I mean, they require some extra preparation to crack different examinations. What is something that helps you crack different multiple examinations?
Okay. So first of all, it's important to know that the basic syllabus for all the exams, right? It would be the same. So streamlining your preparation really helps, right? So say you are 10 months before the examination today. So just do a general preparation, right? Just look at the syllabus and the topics to be covered. So and I mean, just work on the weak areas, do everything. And before say 2 months before the examination or 3 months before the examination, try to kind of branch your preparation as specific as it can be to different examinations. So that would include going for mock exams for say IIFT or NMAT or ZAT or anything, right? To actually make a strategy which is very focused on that exam pattern. So I think it's not difficult if you just prepare for all of them together. I think it really helps, and not just in the examinations, in the further process of GDPI. It's mostly the same. I mean, apart from some different weightages, different formats here and there. So it's very much possible.
Yeah, it's mostly about the pattern. So I mean, the course subject, the syllabus is almost the same. It's just about slight variation in the pattern that you need to work on during the last few days of that specific examination. So you went to IIFT and you scored heavily in that examination. And IIFT contains a portion for GK as well, and even other exams also you cracked XLRI and some more. So can you tell the importance of GK? When should how you one should start preparing for that section, and is it limited to just the examinations? Some people think that okay, they are going to write CAT. CAT does not ask GK. Should we prepare for GK or not?
Right. So I think GK is the only section which is different in IIFT compared to other B school examinations. So what I found was that in GK, the focus is more on static GK, rather than like very much current affairs or, everyday happenings. So it's important to emphasize on the GK portion because there are sectional cutoffs in IIFT examination, and so you can't neglect it, right? So what really helped me was looking at some previous years papers of IIFT and trying to figure out in my mind, like, okay, what are the topics these are tested on? So I could figure out a few topics and general trends in GK questions, and then decided to do my own research on those questions and study a bit in detail. So that approach actually helped me because GK is very vast. I mean, it cannot be developed in, say, a few months preparation time. But okay, if you know the kinds of questions asked, or if it's like, say, geography or history questions are being asked, or something related to environment, sports, so you know where to channelize your preparation time on, and to which topic areas to focus. So I think that can help.
Yeah, definitely that looking at previous year papers definitely help because as you said, GK is very vast and different examinations have different patterns. Some examinations might test you on current affairs, right? So IIFT is one which focuses on static GK, and that too there are certain pattern that you can get. Like for example, that there are questions on like currencies, books and authors, right? Similarly, some like Indian traditional dances, etc., etc. So, like if you analyze past year papers, you get to know that these are the topics from which you are going to get questions. Okay,
Right.
so yeah, so you prepared for these examinations and then you did well. And can you tell about the GDPI experience? Like, how did you start preparing for that? Had you started your preparation? Like, there are some students who wait ki call aega, then they'll start the preparation, or should you start your preparation simultaneously with your uh, test prep?
Okay, so GDPI again is something which is subjective, and it's vast in terms of your profile being covered, in terms of your past academics being covered. Then there's like a written ability test in some of the interview processes. So I think there are a few things which you can change, of course, like be it your academics or your past 10th, 12th marks, internships, anything. But in the few months you get, what you can do is, I mean, whenever you are preparing for CAT, you obviously get a knack of solving the RC passages. You develop reading habits. So I would suggest continue doing that to basically, that also helps you in understanding the current affairs which are happening. So for me, it was going through newspapers like Economic Times, Mint. So these really help in making your own opinions and discussing your points in GD rounds and even VATs, right? For the PI, it's like you can consult your mentors if you have any. You can consult your faculties, and then try to get some mock interviews done, right? And it's mostly about knowing your own profile very well. So it's like most of the colleges, and IIFT especially, I remember, and I think even MDI, which I had converted. So they ask you for something like a CV. Like there's a form, they'll be asking you all the projects, internships you have done. So it's very important to know exactly what were the outcomes, what were your learnings from them. So if you can really explain that well in interviews, I think that really helps. And I think being really consistent with everything you've done, and your future plans, and how your old projects, the courses you did, how they are coherent with your future plans. I think that really makes a difference. And that's all.
Yeah, exactly. So you should know whatever you fill in those forms. Like if whenever you get a call, you get a form along with that. Be it any school, they ask about your the academics, and if you've done any projects, any extracurriculars, etc. So you should be aware of the learnings that you have had from that. So that's what generally is tested in your personal interviews. And for GD and BAD, you need to be aware of the current affairs. I mean about what is happening in economy, politics, etc. at a national as well as international level. So this was about it, and as you said that you already had a plan that you would be going to finance, right? So suppose let us consider that suppose you did not know that which stream are you going to pursue MBA in. Maybe many of you of your batchmates must be in this category that they did not know that what to do after MBA, right? So how do
Yeah.
people come to know about that?
Okay, so see, that also really stems from what you have done in terms of your academics and your project. So for me personally, I had a background in economics from my school level that was along with science. And fortunately enough, I was studying at a place like BITS Pilani, which really allows you to explore your interests in terms of the variety of electives it offers, and the projects and the internships. So I did a few courses and few projects at BITS which were related to economics and finance. So that's when really my interest started building up in those. And then I landed up an internship in IIM Lucknow, did a project there, did a paper presentation on that. So that's when I decided that, okay, this is one field where I would like to have a career in. I found myself to be really passionate about that. Even if you're not sure of the branch, that's fine. I mean, doing an MBA itself is a very good thing, and you get to explore your interest once you enter the MBA college. So for IIFT, and I know for other IIMs and many other schools like MDI, they are offering a general management program, in which you don't have to choose any stream, from the time of the admission. And in the second year, it's mostly the specializations you choose for, based on the internships you have done, and based on what interests you. So you definitely need not decide before entering an MBA what specialization you have to do. If you can, if it gels with your past academics. Say someone is a commerce student, they might want to go into finance. Someone might have a work experience in marketing or sales, and they might like it a lot, right? So they can go for that. They want to switch to HR, they can do that. But I think it's never too late to figure out.
So in the first year of preschool, you get opportunities when you study different subjects, and then you have your internships as well. So you get to understand, you explore yourself, your interest, and then accordingly you go for the subject that you want in the final year. Okay, so Harshit, please tell something about your life at IIFT. That how did you feel during the first year, the internship you got into, and so on.
Okay, so just like any other B school, when you enter it, I mean, there is definitely a lot of, you can say, pressure in terms of the new environment, the academics, and the companies you want to apply for, because placements for the summer internship usually start within, say, 3 to 4 months of entering into the B school. So, but I was like, I had some experience from bits of the placements, and I had straight away come out of engineering to pursue the MBA. So I was not very out of touch of from the academics basically. So for me, I think it was relatively easier to settle down there. Then I found a few good seniors which were in who were pursuing my interests and my line basically in finance. So I consulted them, and they were good enough to give me guidance. Same goes with the professors I met there. So that was what the basic life at any B school is. Apart from the academics, you get to interact with a lot of industry experts. There are a lot of GLs, guest lectures. There are a lot of companies visiting the campuses where you get to learn a lot about that. And some people I know, they have actually changed their stream. In the first year, they thought they are interested in something else, and after interacting with the industry people and companies, they became interested in another. So that's what sums up the life at IIFT.
Okay, so you were a fresher when you joined IIFT. So what are the pros and cons of being a fresher in a B school? Many students, many aspirants believe that they should get some work experience before they enter a B school. However, if you see the statistics, around 35 to 40% of the students in every B school these days are freshers. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of being a fresher?
Okay. So advantages, I think one is that you have not lost touch of the student life, right? You are straight out of college, and there are a few courses and, in terms of academics, which are very similar, especially in first year of B school to what you have studied in undergraduation. So I think in terms of academics, in terms of leading a student life, in terms of being disciplined, some people might believe that. Uh, and I think disadvantages wouldn't be too much, because in India, most of the top MBA programs are like 2 years compared to the 1 year good MBA programs we have in US and Ivy League. So I think if the program is of 2 years, you are okay to be a fresher, because first year, 1 whole year is enough for you to kind of choose your stream. As we have discussed earlier, just it also allows you to do an internship, which will help you decide if that is the right career path for you, or it's the right stream for you. So I think advantages, or the disadvantages rather, aren't too many. The only disadvantage would be that you might be a bit indecisive during the beginning of the program about where to go, because work experience really helps you to kind of know properly, okay, if I'm looking for a change, then from here, where I want to go, because they've already tested one or two organizations, and they know a workplace setting, and how organizations work. So I think it gives a broader perspective in that sense, if you do have a work experience.
Okay, so not many disadvantages, but yes, I mean, the biggest advantage is you are in touch with your academics, and it becomes difficult for those who have like more than 3 years of experience. It is difficult for them to switch back to those college days. Yeah, so that's true. Okay, so we have a query from Praveen. He's talking about that. How did you end up in your job role?
Okay, so
Company for many of the aspirants.
yeah, so this was through normal the placement process at my B school. So yeah, because I was already interested in finance, so I was this was like my target company, and this is what I prepared for, and finally the process happened, and that's how I landed in this job.
Okay. So what special preparation do you need for these placements? Because see, you know that when people enter the B school, the real competition begins then, because like several aspirants fighting for the same company, right? So what are the special things that you need to pursue? I mean, like that helps you get into the top companies in the campus.
I agree. So I agree with your point that there's a lot of competition, and many students would be vying for the same spots there. So the thing is to actually know the exact placement process, which is different for every company. But then there are a few companies do like a CV shortlist. Few have some minimum levels of CGPA and academics, including past academics and MBA academics you need to have. Uh, I think aptitude tests are very common, which in most of the companies, regardless of the domain they are in. So that is what your CAT experience and CAT preparations can help you in, even in future. So that's very similar. And then I think the most important process is the PIs, the personal interviews. You might have a few rounds of different kinds of interviews, like an HR round. Then, if you are in marketing, then it would be a very marketing specific. And
Case-based
another,
interviews they give, like if you are going for finance, so they'll give you some cases and all.
exactly, yeah. So that would be like a subject matter round. So if that's a finance company, that would be testing your actual ability to apply the concepts, in situations which the company is working in, rather than just asking you the pure theory questions or what you've learned in class. It would be more application based. And then I think that's mostly, to summarize it, that's how it is done. A few companies do pre-placement talks, and then there are tests after that pre-placement talk, and some short interviews which might actually do an initial filtering. So that's what it is. I mean, know the company well, know yourself well, and you have to be good in subject matter as well.
Yeah, of course, you need to research other companies because, as you said, that the first stage is filtering because there are a lot of candidates, so that they need to filter the candidates out. So you need to do research on the companies and then decide. Because what happens many times, it's a hard break for some students because they think that they're going to target this company, but they may not be eligible for that, maybe due to some academics or some other reasons. So first thing is to do research, then of course know the process, what are they going to like, what are the various rounds they have, plus as you said, that prepare for cases, subject matter expertise etc is required, and plus some soft skills for HR rounds and etc, so that helps you crack it, right? Okay, so we have a question from Vansh. He's saying that how many hours per week on an average you spend on your preparation for CAT and other MBA exams?
Okay, so this is a good question actually. So ours is like an input. So what I tried to do was to set the targets in terms of the outputs rather than inputs. So that means that I'll set a target of completing 2 mock exams along with their analysis in a week, rather than saying that, okay, I'll be studying for 10 hours this week. So what happens is, when you set targets this way, it really helps you in achieving those, because they are clearly defined. I mean, if you're going for 10 hours, then you might not actually have a great output. I mean, you might not, you might get distracted a bit. And so I would say, try in, especially in terms of CAT preparation, this is true, that try to have targets in terms of, like, okay, I wish to cover these 5 topics, in this month, and I wish to complete the whole syllabus as such by, say, or by the time 6 months are remaining for CAT. So then I can do weekly mocks, and that way. So I think roughly, if you say, if you're doing, say, 1 mock a week or 2 mocks a week, then that time would count. And apart from that, for a 3-hour mock, I would say analysis might take even 5 hours, because that used to happen with me sometimes, because you really need to see what your strategy was, which questions you spend the most time on, and where you went wrong. So I would say, in those terms, about 15 hours, if you can give per week, that would be ideal.
Okay, yeah. So nice strategy that instead of targeting number of hours, target your output. Right? You are going to cover X number of chapters on a weekly basis or monthly, whatever. I mean, basically it should be broken down into week at least, right? And the number of chapters, the number of tests that you are going to take, right? So that way it's a like you get to. I mean. You cannot commit, you commit some number of hours, it is mostly that you are unable to cover that, but instead if you have a target of output, then definitely it is more likely to be achieved. Okay, so we have a query from a person who is a working guy, right? So you were also in, although you were not a working person, but you were also in the same situation that you had to bifurcate your time between your studies as well as your preparation. So can you give them suggestion that how do they could manage their time to prepare for these examinations? Like weekday, weekend, what should be the ideal time devotion, right?
Okay, so I think first of all, it depends on the kind of job or internship you are doing. So it's better to know the type of hours, or if you'll even have to work in the weekends or not, and by what time you get free every day in the evening, by what time you start. And based on that, you can prepare a strategy which works the best for you. So uh, for me, I would say that it was mostly the weekends only, because I kind of used to be a bit busy in the weekdays, in the internship. And uh, even after coming back from the office, I did not used to really feel like doing something new. Uh, Although I used to devote some time during the weekdays for the analysis part of the mocks, because that is not something new you are doing. You are just kind of revising what all you attempted, where you went wrong. So that's easier. But I think for the mock exams which are given, it's better to have a fresh mind and attempt those in weekends. So I think for working people, this works the best. I think we lost Pranav. Hi Pranav, are you there? Pranav, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh, okay.
Am I audible? Achha,
Yeah, you're audible now.
I think my system got hanged, and as a result, I was able to hear you continuously, right?
Okay,
On,
okay, great.
yeah,
But I can't see your video. So
I'm just. My system got hanged, so yeah. So we were discussing that the time devoted. So as you rightly said, that it depends on person to person. The amount of hours, like for some, they might be working 9 hours a day. Some might be working even for more than 10 hours a day. So that depends on person to person, right? So like you can on weekdays you can pursue something that requires less effort, like analyzing a mock test and in bits and pieces, or you could revise something. But one thing I'm sure you must have done daily must be going through newspapers, isn't it? Because that you cannot pile up for the week and then read. So
that's right.
newspaper
Yeah,
reading is a must every day, because that not only helps you with your building your reading skills, but also helps you with like update yourself with current affairs that are available. Okay. Okay, so let us see if we have some more queries from the users. Okay, so what else you had? Okay, so I think we have uh, answered most of the queries that how a working student or maybe a fresher could prepare for the examination, about the placements also, how do you get to those things, right? So can you tell something about life after B school, right? How are you experience it now, um, like is it more I would say that more busy, or I mean hectic, or how is it after the MBA?
so I think it's pretty good, Pranav. Like, you have a set routine. You are working, like, nowadays the most of us are working from homes. So for me, it's that way. So I do get a, like, some free time in weekends, to pursue my hobbies. I like playing badminton and table tennis. So I think it's pretty good. it feels great if you are working in the right role, and if it actually turns out to be what you wanted to work in. So yeah, I mean, it's very encouraging, I would say, and I can say that for my colleagues as well who are working in different companies. So it's a good place to be in.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're in B school, I mean, people keep talking about company culture and all those things. So yeah, so it is also important. There are certain companies that are very good culture, right? And but I mean, I think in your case, it is like good work-life balance. So you're enjoying it. So if you are like if you have a predetermined thought that this is what you want to do, if you go into the field of interest, so definitely you enjoy your work, right? Because in B schools there are certain people who just I mean they might not be interested in some particular field, but under peer pressure they join some companies. For example, let's say you had deep interest in finance, but suppose like you saw that most of your batchmates are going into this company which is offering some sales role. Had you joined that, you won't be enjoying the role. So that is also one important thing that one needs to think of, that they should pursue what they are interested in, not to just follow their peers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Harshit, yeah, it was nice interacting with you. So aspirants got to know about your preparation strategy, you as a fresher, how you started your preparation, when did you start, how did you prepare, how did you devote your time for academics as well as preparation, your experience with different examinations, life at IIFT, and thereafter.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Pranav, and thank you everyone for joining today and listening. I mean, I really wish you all the best, and I would say just keep safe and keep focused on your goal.
Yeah, so some last piece of advice that you would like to give. So these are the people who are going to write their examinations.
Oh, great, great. So I would say like this is the time when you might be doing a lot of practice exams, and you will be competing with the actual aspirants in mock tests and all. So try not to take your results too seriously at this time, because these exams are meant for experimentation and deciding your strategies. Some strategy might work for you very well and some may not. So just try to analyze and just try to see what strategy you have to follow on the exam day, because the results of these don't matter. These are just meant for experimentation, and just stay consistent with these. I mean, I would just recommend not getting bogged down if few results are here and there.
So mock tests. I mean, some people get demotivated with low scores. Some get complacent with high scores. So they need to. I mean, they just need to take mocks. They need to analyze them well, right, and build your prepare. I mean, then if you take a good number of mocks, you can build your strategy accordingly for the D day, and eventually crack the examination. Okay, so Acha, there is one question from some Ronit. He asked that, would you recommend someone with 6 years of work experience to appear for IIFT?
Sorry, for IIFT.
Would you recommend someone with 6 years of work experience for IIFT? Should one
Okay,
join IIFT for that after 6 years of work experience?
I think it's a bit on the higher side. I mean, it's not too late to do MBA if it's for like learning purposes and for career advancement. It's always a great thing. But just because some companies have their criteria, like we want people under 3 years of work experience, and we want maybe under 5 years of work experience, so you might just lose out on some of the companies, some of the placement opportunities. Having said that, not every company does it, and there are still a lot of opportunities to choose from. So I think it's safe to do it at this point.
Yeah. So every company has this criteria. Yeah, many of the companies have this criteria of certain cap on the work experience, or there could be some companies even have a lower cap, right? They do not
Right.
want freshers. They want people with more than the lateral placements that they have. Some people have cap on the higher level of the work experience. So yeah, so you might miss out on some of the placement opportunities. But yes, from learning perspective, it's always you're always welcome to go for an MBA. All right, Harshit. So it was nice interacting with you, hosting you on this show. I hope the aspirants must have learned some advice from you for their preparation, and they must be like coming out with flying colors this season. So we wish all the best for them, and all the best to you as well for your job and your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Pranav. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
so guys, this was Harshit with us, and we had a nice time talking with all of you. So we wish you all the best with your upcoming examination.